What we're witnessing is a revolutionary movement, as I said, and we have people who are celebrating the death of their opponents. They're dreaming of how to kill their opponents. They're praising people who murder. This is the starkest choice in November that we've had in a midterm election in my lifetime. There's a vast gulf between what the Democratic Socialists are advocating and what traditional conservatives are trying to maintain. Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. We often associate leftist movements, anarchists of the 19th century, Jacobins of the 18th century, Marxists, Bolsheviks, Symbionese Liberation Front, the Weathermen Underground, with violence. And the argument that they use is we are for mandated equality and fairness and helping the underprivileged, and therefore to achieve those noble ends which are morally and intellectually superior to those on the conservative side, we're allowed to use any means necessary. And any means necessary is what's happening right now. Hasan Piker is always in the news. He's the multi-millionaire podcaster, second-generation Turkish immigrant, who just recently led a cheering crowd in a song, whipped up the crowd, mocking the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He said, "Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk." He was whipping them up in a classical demagogic fashion, cheering and celebrating the horrific televised murder of an American activist. Remember, he's also told us that 9/11, we essentially deserved it. It was our fault, 9/11 was. He's not unusual right now on the left. Angie Nixon is a radical socialist, and she won the Democratic primary Senate campaign, and she will be in the runoff for Florida's junior senator. She said recently that ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, were slave catchers, and that they were targeting black people, no different than people in the Confederacy, and that the U.S. government was trying to kill blacks. She doesn't understand that under the auspices of DEI, which continues affirmative action, that blacks have given preferential treatment based on past transgressions that the majority of the country felt needed to be addressed. No one is trying to kill young black people, much less the government. If you look at the murder rates, the statistics make her completely unbelievable. Almost 9 out of 10 murders by African Americans are committed by other African Americans. And when there are interracial violence, it's 6 to 10 times more likely that an African American will harm, assault, or kill a white person than vice versa. White people are underrepresented as assailants in hate crimes. Black people are overrepresented. I don't bring that up, I only bring it up just to refute the slur that she's made against the immigration and enforcement service. ICE deported people from over 180 countries of all colors, all religion. Then we have another luminary in this new radical extremist movement, Abdul El-Sayed. He's running now. He won the nomination in the Michigan senatorial race. He will be running against Mike Rogers for the Senate. He said, remember, he said that before that he follows Sharia law. He got caught in a hot mic saying that we should not celebrate the death of the supreme leader, Khomeini, in Iran. Remember, he had just ordered 40,000 of his own people to be slaughtered that were protesting. And he said, my constituents wouldn't like that. In other words, his constituents, which he's proud of, were on the side of the Iranian theocracy that for 50 years has been the chief sponsor of terror in the world. When he tried to attack a fellow Democrat, Senator John Fetterman, he said, ideally you put one ogre on a pike and then everyone else gets the message. That's almost a blatant call to kill him, and then to use that violence to intimidate other people. When there was an attack on a Jewish synagogue by a brother of a Hezbollah member, and he was in the United States, and he was asked to comment. What did he say? Hurt people, deep breath, hurt people, justifying that. We've had 4 occasions now when the Secret Service shot at potential and actual Trump assassins. We've had Hollywood stars. We've had people like Robert De Niro, Kathy Griffith, Shakespeare in the Park in New York, celebrity cooks, and Snoop Dogg. They've said they've all tried to compete in imagining to us, an audience, through public media and social media, whether they should kill Donald Trump, whether they should burn Donald Trump, whether they should stab Donald Trump, whether they could shoot Donald Trump, whether they could decapitate him, whether they could throw him over a cliff, whether they could blow him up. This comes on the heels that for the last essentially 9 years, there's been no contrition, no apologies for a series of events that almost wrecked the sense of law and order in this country and severely damaged the integrity of the government and was a challenge to the Constitution. For 3 years, the FBI, a rogue agency under James Comey and then later Andrew McCabe, cooked up the Steele dossier, which was a complete fabrication, and tried to take out a Republican candidate for the presidency, Operation Crossfire Hurricane. It was all based on a lie. We were told in the 2020 that a laptop with incriminating evidence, which the FBI had in its possession and had verified it was Hunter Laptop's possession, it was his property, with all the incriminating information on it, was cooked up by the Russians. 50 former CIA and intelligence authorities swore on the eve of the election that the Russians and Donald Trump were colluding. It was a complete lie. No one has ever apologized. We had 4 prosecutors, Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Fannie Willis, Jack Smith. They all made up charges. And we know now that Alvin Bragg had to take a federal charge when he was a municipal prosecutor that the federal prosecutors thought was bogus. Miss James went after an old loan and said that he exaggerated his collateral when the bank said he didn't, that issued the loan. Fannie Willis, she's been so disgraced now. She's been fined by the court. She made up most of the charges. She was essentially hiring her own paramour and then charging the state for their junkets. Jack Smith, he tried to rush a federal indictment of Donald Trump on the Mar-a-Lago raid, and he was trying to get insurrection. That case was thrown out. Not enough. They raided Mar-a-Lago, the private home of an ex-president. They said he had dozens of classified material. He had 11,000 documents, and all they could find under contention were 102 documents they claimed were classified. Then they scattered the documents on the ground and made it look as if Donald Trump was some type of criminal. At the same time, Joe Biden had done the same thing for 30 years in 4 locations. No one said a word. Over 20 states tried to take a Republican nominee off the ballot for the general election so the voters wouldn't even have a chance. I'm not even going to get into the social media where the FBI was partnering with social media to squash stories they felt were prejudicial to Joe Biden. What we're witnessing is a revolutionary movement, as I said. And we have people who are celebrating the death of their opponents. They're dreaming of how to kill their opponents. They're praising people who murder. This is the starkest choice in November that we've had in a midterm election in my lifetime. There's a vast gulf, a huge chasm between what the Democratic Socialists are advocating and what traditional conservatives are trying to maintain. If they win, we will see the beginning of a destroyed border, and we will return to 12 million people within a 4-year period crossing unaudited. We will see a war on fossil fuels, even as we are the greatest producer of gas and oil in history. We will see biological men green-lighted to compete in female sports. Anti-Semitism will be the trademark, and anti-hatred, not anti-Israelism, hatred of the only democracy in the Middle East. We will see a full-fledged return of diversity, equity, inclusion, prejudice, and bias. What we're talking about is a revolutionary group who is telling us, if you elect us, you will not recognize the United States as you've known it. We must destroy it and rebuild it along socialist and totalitarian designs. Remember that when you go in December, and vote for somebody who says, we are not ashamed of what America is. We are the greatest nation in the world, and we're the greatest nation in the world because of our traditions, our Constitution, our protocols, and we have nothing to apologize for. Thank you very much. It's Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal.
Female athletes are being forced to compete against biological males, sometimes without their consent or even their knowledge. In Washington, high school sophomore Callie Keeler was sexually assaulted on the wrestling mat during a tournament. Only afterward did she learn her opponent was a boy who identifies as a girl. With the help of Alliance Defending Freedom, Callie is bravely suing the state over a policy that not only allows males to compete in girls' high school sports, but doesn't require schools to disclose that information to female athletes or their parents. Don't let schools put gender ideology over the safety of girls in sports. Your support today can help fight for Callie and other athletes like her. And for a limited time, your first gift to ADF will be doubled by a special matching grant while funds last. Text Hanson to 83848 or go to joinadf.com/Hanson to have your gift doubled.
Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Signal. Please like, share, and subscribe to be notified for more content like this. You can also check out my own website at victorhanson.com and subscribe for exclusive features in addition.